everyone, welcome or welcome back to YouTube Psych Myths, the channel that I just don't know anymore, whether you love or hate. Probably somewhere in between. I don't know. Anyways, I just also wanted to give another quick thank you to my subscribers. My last video I was at 200 and I was so excited that I actually hit that. And now that I'm publishing this video, I'm almost at 400 and it's really weird, but it's also really nice. So thank you guys so much once again and welcome back. And also welcome to anybody who's new. In this video, I want to discuss some of the reasons why it seems like there's such vitriol in the atmosphere when we talk about Dissociadid, or if anybody says anything mildly critical or speaks out against her in any way. How has this been created? What are some of the things that caused it and some of the things that could have stopped it? And this is from my perspective, as well as from what I've seen from other creators who have been critical or spoken out against Dissociadid. I do understand that she has gotten plenty of hate herself. I'm aware of that. However, this video, again, is just from personal experience and from what I've seen in the past few months. There is a segment coming up in the video that will be triggering, so please watch out for the trigger warning. Also, as always, no hate or bullying towards anybody mentioned in this video. Feel free to say whatever you'd like in my comment section and get it all out. Alright, without further ado, let's get into this video.
Oh, like she seems crazy, but I know that's like what I watched the Anthony Padilla one, and there's a girl, Dissociadid or something, I think his name, she's British, and like I watched it and I was like, oh, like she seems crazy, but I know that's like what I sound like now. Honestly, I've never been diagnosed with anything. The closest thing that I have self-diagnosed myself, I guess, is multiple personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder, or both, because there's some differences, there's some similarities, and some people just think they're like all the same or all completely different. For me, I consider them quite similar, but I think my disassociating comes differently.
Oh, wow, okay.
But not only do we see all the hate directed at us, but we see the hate directed at you. That we are here regardless. That no matter what people say about us, we will endeavor to create a safe space for you.
We got scared off the internet by fucking nin stands going goddamn crazy and making us feel like we were no longer fit to be a YouTuber because we could no longer try to foster a safe environment anymore.
Just a little offended by her fans, like saying all this bad stuff, like I should go kill myself because I'm like Trisha. And that's why I made the videos, okay? It was literally because my feelings were hurt.
It's just Halloween makeup. Maybe you should try to learn
if
about
she
trauma
kills herself,
before you
it's
start
partly
talking
your
about
fault.
it. You know
And
that
PID
is not cultural. You know, there are some really, really effective. You do know she has serious trauma,
and
right?
Out to ruin her
Dissociated
life.
What gives you the right to have an opinion on this? Are you a professional? No, you deserve really huge lies. Idiots like you that make people think really do research for you, start speaking about yourself. You need to live a life. But I don't think I am wrong.
At Dissociated, I was a fan of you for a long time, but I can't support how you're handling this current situation. You need to directly address your fans and tell them directly to stop harassing both Trisha and Tatiana. The things some of them have been saying are not acceptable in any context. Don't dance around it and play the victim. Now is not the time. Tell them, and again, I cannot emphasize this enough, directly, that they need to stop. Do not fight hate with hate, especially when the other person also has serious mental health issues. Just so you know, we received the same comments and threats from her and her fans. We are in the same boat, but it has stemmed from her and her actions. We receive death threats daily. Blame for our trauma is daily. Really horrible rumors being spread about us, attempted hackings, etc. The videos and accusations Tatiana made, especially the ones that are now deleted, are so severe that YouTube advised us to call law enforcement and press charges. We haven't, but no action is without consequences. We don't condone hate, but the response she is getting is because she has created content that is not only harmful but illegal, and people are rightly upset. I think her actions are more serious than you've realized, and it's not one-sided. I wonder if you've asked her to stop harassing us and sending unwarranted hate after us from her and her followers, or whether it's just us that you've contacted. Please reflect on both sides of the situation. Death threats are never okay, but she's not the only one. We don't keep the comments up to avoid triggering others, but we see them every day. I think it's best to let the situation die down so that both she and we can move on with our lives in peace. This is not your responsibility to protect a full-grown adult from the consequences of her actions, but I think it's admirable that you care so much about her and her well-being and clearly have a strong sense of right and wrong. I hope that never changes. You're a good person. Try not to get dragged into this much. It's much more complicated than just hate comments. Dissociated stands. We will respectfully ask you to stop sending us hate messages. We are entitled to our opinions, as are you, absolutely. But we will not accept the hate and vitriol you have sent our way. As fellow systems and allies of DID, you really should be ashamed of your most recent behaviors. End of story. At Dissociated, get your fans under control. Although we are fairly certain you are enjoying your stance standing up for you, but you need to know hate and threats of violence are not the ways to show their support for you. Should you remain silent, everyone will most certainly know you have little concern for trauma survivors or those of us in the DID community who want to make a difference. Where is your system responsibility? The others. This is for a very select few who have continued to barrage us with hate and threats of violence. See image below. At Dissociated, we wouldn't be calling you to action, but should you continue to remain silent surrounding this issue, it will be very telling as to what you truly believe about the DID community and trauma survivors. It continues to reflect poorly on your system, but you're not the only system that has had to deal with issues. Please do what is right, break your silence, and help put an end to this kind of behavior. After all, they are doing so in your defense. You have the influence to put a stop to it. Thank you.
Please know that wherever you post about us on the internet, it will likely get back to us.
Although this was done in a joking manner and in jest, I wanted to include it because Dissociated is influential, and this sort of just added fuel to the fire that really wasn't needed at the time. Because whether or not people want to admit it, Dissociated does have a really, really big influence over her supporters. So them seeing her laugh at things like that really wasn't helping the situation. In the time that Dissociated has been absent, there have been many people that have wanted to speak out, and have been afraid to do so. People like Multiplicity and Me, Bobo and Co., Axolotls, and even Entropy System. We saw what happened to Entropy when she posted that tweet. She immediately took it down, and there's a reason why.
She messaged me and she's like, "You have just put my life in danger, you take that tweet down now." And I was like, "Okay, if you take that tweet down, or if I take the tweet down, you will listen to me." She's like, "Fine." So I take it down, and we talked. I was like, "Listen, everybody feels betrayed. Me and the other YouTubers who once called you very good friends are hurt so badly." And she messaged back being like, you sound like you're straight out of Kiwi Farms, and you're obviously just interested in money and views, and you don't care about us." And I was like, I quit YouTube 2 days ago, so I'm not sure how I'm in this for views, but just these 12 minutes of voice messages, just emotionally manipulative, emotional blackmail, just being like, I obviously don't value their life, I'm here to support the trolls, and all this stuff, and I was just like, Jesus Christ.
I'm very late to talking about it, because I'm scared, I'm terrified, honestly, literally shaking right now.
Okay, so I'm just going to go over a few things that really stood out to me when reading this response by Dissociated. One of the first things jumping out is that she's talking about consequences for people's actions. No action is without consequences. Dissociated has said many, many times that no action is without consequences in direct context when referring to hate and bullying. I don't think that's an accident or a typo. It also says, but the response she is getting is because she has created content that is not only harmful but illegal, and people are rightly upset. Rightly upset, meaning that they are okay in feeling the way they do, sending all that hate. They're rightly upset. I think her actions are more serious than you realize. It's not one-sided. Oh, I wonder if you've asked her to stop harassing us and sending unwarranted hate after us from her and her followers, or whether it's just us that you've contacted. Now, this statement is honestly a little bit silly because the difference in the audience size is beyond night and day. It's not even a drop in the bucket, really, when it comes to how large Dissociated is. Now she's at 1 million. She was pretty close then at the time, too. She goes on, please reflect on both sides of the situation. Okay, death threats are never okay, but she's not the only one. Here we are again. Death threats are never okay, but she's not the only one. So death threats aren't okay, but I'm getting them too, so I shouldn't have to say anything about it because I'm suffering also. Okay. She says we don't keep the comments up to avoid triggering others, but we see them every day. I think it's best to let the situation die down. So she's not going to address it. She's not going to put out a statement or anything in response to the bullying. And then she goes on to say, it's not your responsibility to protect a full-grown adult from the consequences of her actions. So, 2 things here. We've got the consequences of her actions again, and the consequences are the bullying and the harassment. And it's not your responsibility to protect a full-grown adult from those consequences. So she's also talking down to this person while she's responding. Okay, and then it goes on, but I think it's admirable that you care so much about her well-being and clearly have a strong sense of right and wrong. Now that one's a bit confusing because Dissociated seems to be saying that this person has a strong sense of right and wrong, but that they're not going to do what this person is suggesting and they're not going to take any of it into consideration. It's confusing. Anyway, it continues. I hope that never changes. You're a good person. Try not to get dragged into this. It's much more complicated than just hate comments. I just want to point out how diminishing that one simple word can be, just hate comments. It turns it from being harassment and bullying, hate speech, into just hate comments. It's way more complicated than just those silly things. Again, I'm speechless here. Let's move on.